Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 7 of What If Naruto Was Madara's grandson. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 8 of it, comment down below and let me know. Also check out previous parts of this what if. I have created a playlist for this what if where you can find all the previous parts, link is in the description. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and like this video and share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Kage box. Looks like the Uchiha arrived just in time, the right Kage commented. Indeed, the Hokage agreed. Let's see how much you grew, Sasuke-kun, the Kazekage thought. Let's see what your prodigy can do, the right Kage said. In fact, he was hoping that the Uchiha was humiliated. He read reports from his Genin team that the Uchiha thought he was almighty. Prodigy the Hokage started getting the attention of both Kages. Nowadays people throw that name around without knowing its true meaning. The true prodigies are Uzumaki Naruto and Hyuga Hinata, and I have high hopes for both of them, the Hokage said with a small smile. He never thought that his Surga grandson would grow so much after a rough early life like he had. You sure are attached to that particular kid, the right Kage commented, narrowing his eyes at the blonde in the arena. That kid reminds me of someone, the right Kage thought. Something on your mind? The Hokage asked the right Kage. The blonde brat Uzumaki Naruto, he seems to remind me of someone. I just can't pinpoint it, the right Kage said. Who were his parents? He asked, and the Hokage and Jiraiya both stiffened. Should I tell him? The Hokage thought. Better not. I'll let Naruto choose when to reveal his true heritage, the Hokage concluded. I'm afraid even I don't know. He's an orphan from the Kyuubi attack, the Hokage replied. The right Kage looked carefully at the Hokage to spot any sign of lie, but found none. It's a shame, the right Kage said, and both the Hokage and Jiraiya let out a breath of relief. Though the kid has style, to emulate the hairstyle of one of your founders, Uchiha Madara, the right Kage commented, and the Hokage and Jiraiya were once again sweating bullets. How could the right Kage almost figure out his grandfather's identity? The right Kage wasn't as blunt as people said he was. That hairstyle is just to make it easier for him to use a couple of jutsus I taught him, Jiraiya said, trying to shift the right Kage's attention. Oh, found another Namikaze Minato, have you? He looks a lot like him actually, the right Kage said with his hand on his chin. Damn it, Jiraiya, you never know when to keep your mouth shut, the Hokage thought, glaring at his student, making him gulp. During this whole interaction, the Kazekage aka Orochimaru was silent, hearing them talk and thinking about it. The brat actually looks a lot like him, the Kazekage thought. Orochimaru kept thinking about it when something clicked on his mind. Of course, Uzumaki Naruto, how could I have been so blind? There was only one Uzumaki in this village, Uzumaki Kushina, and everyone knew she was involved with Minato. That also explains why Minato sealed the Kyuubi inside the brat. He used his own son. The right Kage isn't all muscle as I thought, Orochimaru thought, chuckling in his mind. Are you planning on taking another apprentice? The right Kage asked, breaking the thought of Orochimaru. Maybe, but I don't stay in the village much time. It's a shame I won't be able to pass my toad contract to him, Jiraiya said, wondering if the toad contract would die with him. Oh, which contract does he have? The right Kage asked curiously. Should I tell them? It would only strengthen Konoha if the enemies knew of another contract, Jiraiya thought before replying. He has the fox contract, Jiraiya said. What? There is no fox contract, the right Kage stated. I didn't know it existed too, but there is one. He's the first fox summoner ever. Apparently the Kyuubi took a liking in him, Jiraiya explained. A major threat indeed, Orochimaru thought as he planned a way to get rid of the brat. Looks like they're starting, the Hokage said before the right Kage could reply, and all shifted their attention towards the arena. With crowd, Kakashi-sensei, Sakura called out. Yo, he replied. Cutting it a little close, weren't you? Asuma said. Training to the last minute and arriving late, you never change, Asuma said. I was going to arrive on time, but a black cat crossed my path, and we had to walk the way around him, Kakashi said, rubbing the back of his head and laughing. Geez, Sakura said. I bet Sasuke-kun is way stronger now, she said. I trained him to my best extent during this month, but I don't think he stands a chance against Naruto, Kakashi said, much to the shock of a few genin. But Naruto was the dead last during the whole academy time. He just got lucky in the final exam. I don't understand, Ino said. Kakashi looked at there as if she grew a second head. Didn't you see what he did in the preliminaries? He asked rhetorically. It's true, Sakura said. Kakashi's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates when he heard Sasuke's #1 fangirl, agreeing that Sasuke doesn't stand a chance. Sasuke fought Lee before the first stage, and even with his Sharingan he was defeated, and yet Naruto won, and he didn't use the Kyuubi's power, Sakura said. How do you know about that? Kakashi asked, slightly surprised. He told us while Yujiro was fighting against Fuse, Sakura explained. Kakashi was surprised that Naruto would publicly announce he's a Jinchuriki, but he must have figured it would be public knowledge any day now. Never thought I would see another one, much less see 5 years, Abusa said. What do you mean 5? Sakura asked. You don't know? Well, there's Naruto of course, Yujito, Fuu, Kumo's Jonin-sensei, and finally that sand brat Gaara Zabuza explained. Gaara is one also? Sakura asked, not believing her ears. Yes, I believe he has the Chibi, also known as Shikaku. Kakashi explained. That's why he's so strong, Sakura said in wow. She went from not knowing what Jinchuriki were to knowing 5 of them. You're wrong, Sakura, Kakashi said, getting her attention. Gaara is strong on his own. He doesn't need his demon to be strong. In fact, I believe he might be better without it, Kakashi said. What do you mean? Sakura asked. Each Biju has their own personality and personal preferences. Shikaku tends to drive their hosts crazy, so they might set him free. That's why Gaara is so unstable, Kakashi said, and all of the Genin shivered minus Hinata. You already knew all that. Don't worry, if that ever happened, we would take matters into our own hands, Kakashi said. It's best they know about this so they can get out of the way when it begins, Kakashi thought. Sakura and the rest of the Genin sighed in relief. However, the Jonins and even Zabuza himself knew what would happen, and they were all ready in case Naruto couldn't handle Gaara. Arena. Begin, Hate called out and jumped out of the two. Ready, Sasuke? Naruto asked as he got into his Dragon Fist stance. Naruto looked at Sasuke and noticed he didn't move since the match started. He didn't even have any stance. Don't tell me you don't consider me worthy of fighting, Naruto asked. That's right, Sasuke said, pointing at him. I don't even want to waste any time fighting some clan-less shinobi and trash like you, Sasuke said, and Naruto immediately dropped in stance. You wouldn't be saying that when I grind your ass to the ground, Naruto said, grinning like an idiot. Just because you are wearing Anbu chest plate armor and you grew your hair doesn't mean anything against me, Sasuke said. You are nothing but a loser. I bet your whore of a mot. Sasuke didn't get to finish as Naruto blurred from his position and slammed his fist right into Sasuke's face and sent him tumbling to the ground. You can call me what you want, but I won't allow you to insult my parents, Naruto said, getting ready to smash his pompous face into the dirt. Sasuke got up and cleaned a bit of blood from his lip. He activated his Sharingan and got into his stance, the interceptor fist. Touchy are we? Sasuke smugly asked. Looks like the brat wants physiological warfare, Kurama said. Don't worry, I have a few things to give him back. I know some stuff about his massacre and his brother, if need be, Naruto replied in thought. Looks like you are taking me serious, Naruto said. I don't need to worry about you, Dobe. Only an Uchiha can defeat an Uchiha, Sasuke simply said. Is that right? Naruto asked rhetorically. Sasuke smirked and went through a few hand seals and shouted, Fire style. Great fireball technique. Sasuke sent a medium-sized fireball towards Naruto, who remained in place and took the full force of it. Sasuke smirked as he watched his attack hit him head-on and burn him in a pile of flames. With his Sharingan activated, he knew Naruto didn't dodge. The smoke cleared and Sasuke immediately dropped his smile, seeing Naruto completely wrapped in his spiky golden air. Ninpo. Needle Guardian, Naruto said as his hair started to shrink back to his original size. Naruto immediately flashed 12 hand seals of his own and said Ninpo. Hair Needle Send Bone. Naruto's hair extended once again and enlarged. Naruto bent slightly forward and sent a barrage of sand bones made of his hair towards Sasuke. Sasuke said, Fire style. Great fireball technique, but this time instead of a focused fireball, he transformed it into a constant stream of fire, much like a flamethrower. Sasuke's fire clashed with Naruto's senbone, vaporizing them, but Sasuke quickly ran out of air in his lungs and was forced to stop his fire. The senbone kept on coming, and Sasuke was forced to start evasive maneuvers. I can't keep dodging with this speed or I'll tire out quickly. I have to retaliate, Sasuke thought. Sasuke took a few shurikens from his pouch and threw them at Naruto, while going 12 hand seals. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu, Sasuke said as his shurikens multiplied into dozens upon dozens. Naruto, seeing this, dropped his hair attack and decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. Wind style. Wind wave, Naruto said and clapped his hands together. He channeled chakra to the wind around him, and suddenly a powerful gust of wind emerged from his palms and crashed into the shurikens. The shurikens stopped midair and changed their direction before gaining speed and heading towards Sasuke. Sasuke saw the attack incoming and took a kunai to start deflecting. When he knew he was getting overrun by the amount, which ironically enough it was him that created that many, he jumped to right to dodge the rest. Why couldn't I copy those jutsu? Sasuke asked in thought, getting pissed off. Naruto saw the scowl on his face and decided to push him a little further. Sad that you couldn't copy these jutsus, Naruto asked. Why the hell can't I copy you? Sasuke asked, losing his temper. You still don't know how to use your eyes, Naruto said, making Sasuke narrow his eyes at him. No pun intended. Your two-tomed Sharingan can't keep up with my hand seal's speed, and because of that you aren't able to copy my jutsu. Simple as that, Naruto explained. A shame really, Naruto said sarcastically. How do you know so much about the Sharingan? Sasuke asked, yelling at him. Sasuke. I thought you were smarter than this, Naruto said, grinning. Naruto was picturing Sasuke's smug face when he showed another pair of Sharingan eyes. What do you mean? Sasuke asked, confused. First, I know a lot about the Sharingan. 2. I said people consider my bloodline the strongest in the world. 3rd. Kakashi said you knew my bloodline as well as you know yours. What do you get from this? Naruto asked, watching Sasuke's face suddenly light up in realization. Why you don't mean? Sasuke asked, stuttering for the first time. Yes I do, Naruto said and closed his eyes. He slowly opened them to show a glowing pair of fully matured Sharingan eyes. You can't be, Sasuke said, watching a 3-tomoed Sharingan glowing in the dope's eyes. Release, Sasuke yelled and flared his chakra, but nothing happened. Release, Sasuke repeated, but the Sharingan remained. I can't dispel it because it isn't an illusion. I have a Sharingan, oh almighty last Uchiha, Naruto smugly said. How dare you have those eyes? You don't deserve them, Sasuke yelled and ran to Naruto at full speed with a sloppy stance, losing his better judgment due to his anger. Sasuke was getting closer and closer to Naruto, and faster than lightning Naruto kicked Sasuke hard in the chest and sent him flying to the wall. Sasuke slowly got up, coughing a bit. Now Sasuke-chan, don't get mad just because my eyes are fully matured and yours aren't, Naruto said, making Sasuke's eye twitch in annoyance. You know Sasuke, Naruto started getting his attention. I awakened my Sharingan at 5 years old, and at 6 I already had them fully matured, Naruto explained, and Sasuke's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. But Sasuke managed to hold them in place, otherwise he would lose his precious Sharingan. Sasuke boiled. If looks could kill, Naruto would be dust by now. I told you, you weren't as special as you thought. You only activated your precious eyes a couple of weeks ago. Well, I already have fully matured Sharingan for almost 8 years, Naruto said, grinning and mentally congratulating himself. It felt so good to rub his fully matured eyes on Sasuke's arrogant ass, and if Naruto showed him his EMS, then Sasuke would more likely faint, but he would keep the EMS as an ace. His EMS might not have any powerful direct attack for now, but it was his ultimate defense. Unless I send my enemy to my pocket dimension and let him starve to death, Naruto thought, chuckling, considering what types of attacks he could use with his Kage, but quickly refocused on the battle at hand. Now Sasuke, Naruto started with his Sharingan spinning. Let me show you the true power of the Sharingan. Kage box. Another Uchiha Kage said, stupefied. Now I understand when you said he was special. To think you had another Uchiha hidden, Kage said, chuckling. Another pair of Sharingan eyes. Delicious. A shame I can't risk using his body due to the Kyuubi, Orochimaru said, sighing as he watched Naruto's eyes glow in all their power. He would be a much more appropriate vessel than Sasuke-kun. Oh well, Orochimaru sighed, knowing you can't have everything you want, but in the end, Sasuke's Sharingan would suffice. The Hokage laughed. Yes, he's very special and powerful in his own way, the Hokage said. Make me proud, Kid Jiraiya thought as he watched his godson present his Sharingan to the last Uchiha. With crowd, Kakashi watched with pride as Naruto unveiled his bloodline. The Sharingan, it's said to be the most powerful bloodline of all, capable of seeing chakra, copying any taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, and giving the user the ability to cast genjutsu with their eyes. But that doesn't even scrap the bottom of the Sharingan's true power, Kakashi thought as he remembered when Naruto told him about his eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. Kakashi frowned when he noticed how Sasuke didn't keep his head cool, but then again when it's something related to his clan, Kakashi knew Sasuke would snap. Sharingan, Sakura said. And like Kakashi-sensei, they have 3 black things, she said in WoW. The black things are called tomos, and the eyes are fully matured when they have 3, Kakashi explained. Every single Genin was shocked minus Hinata and Shino, of course. The elders of Konoha had their jaw on the ground as most of the civilians. That brat, now I understand how he could keep up with me, Zabuza commented as he remembered a few spars he had with him. Yes, and I also understand how he could see my moves when I use my ice mirrors on him, Haku said, remembering their battle in the wave, and how Naruto was able to dodge every single senbon she threw at him. Sharingan. One of the Hyuga elders gasped. This changes everything, Hiashi said. He already had a plan regarding the Uzumaki brat, but now that he knew about the Sharingan, things would have to be arranged differently. Yosh, the flames of youth shine brightly on Naruto, Lee yelled. Yes Lee, and to keep our own flames we shall do 1000 laps around Konoha, Guy said. Bai-sensei. Lee. Bai-sensei. Lee. Oh, for Kami's sake stop that, Tenten said as she rained kunais and shurikens on them. Kyuubi Jinchuriki and the Sharingan user. I knew blondes were troublesome, Shikamaru said, sighing, and went back to his cloud watching. How can someone awaken them so early? I thought you needed a life and death situation to awaken them, Sakura said. All of Sasuke's fangirls were well versed in his clan history and powers. After all, they needed to know everything about their love. It's because he's a Jinchuriki, Hinata said, gathering their attention. The civilians and few ignorant shinobis see Naruto as the Kyuubi himself, and when he was young, they would gather up and finish the Yondame's job, Hinata said, as the Genin frowned in understanding. Even they knew the difference between a kunai and the scroll. It was basic academy stuff. When he was 5 years old, he was getting chased by a mob. From what he told me, one of the pursuers was a chunin, and he threw kunais towards him. If he didn't awaken his Sharingan, he would have been killed, Hinata explained. I still wonder how he didn't turn out like Gaara, Suma commented. That was because of Hinata, Kurenai softly said as she looked towards her younger sister of sorts. Me? Hinata asked, confused. Yes, you gave him the thing he needed most, love, Kurenai softly said, proud of Hinata. But Naruto-kun is lots of people that like him, Hinata said, not quite understanding what Kurenai meant. True. He has the Hokage, Iruka, Tsuchi and Aim, his pervert of a godfather and Kakashi to some degree, Kurenai said, and Kakashi's sweat dropped. However, you provided him with real, unconditional love. You were his first friend, his best friend and then his girlfriend. You were there when he was called monster and thrown out of stores. You were there when he walked alone through the streets. And you there when he was feeling lonely and lost, Kurenai said. And a few fangirls fawned over the dedication, making Hinata slightly blush. When Kakashi heard that, he started giggling like a perverted fanboy until he heard Mage and damnation of the pervert, and instantly Kakashi's world vanished, and was replaced with a fiery pit, where Kurenai was slowly burning each of Kakashi's Icha books, one at a time. No, my precious, Kakashi yelled, crying in I'm tears. What's wrong with Kakashi-sensei, Sakura asked as she watched Kakashi drool on the floor yelling random phrases. Just introducing Kakashi to a personal genjutsu, Kurenai said in a very sweet voice that even Sakura, who would most likely save from her wrath, felt a small shiver. Kurenai broke the genjutsu, and Kakashi slowly rose, glaring at Kurenai, while hugging his dear book, as if he would slip right through his fingers. He rapidly regained his sense. Do you see now why I said Sasuke would lose? Kakashi asked, and Sakura sadly nodded. After finding out Naruto was a Jinchuriki and knowing the life he lived, she was feeling bad for treating him badly. Though Sasuke-kun, Sakura yelled for the balcony, cheering for her favorite emo. I guess some habits die hard, Kakashi thought in amusement as he watched the battle unfold at the arena. Naruto and Sasuke were engaged in a brutal display of Taijutsu. There was finesse in their style. Each punch, each kick they threw was meant to break bones, or at least give the adversary a fair amount of damage and pain. They jumped back from each other. Naruto was pretty much untouched except for a bit of dust. Sasuke on the other hand was supporting scrapes, bruises and a cracked rib. Is as fast as Lee with his weights, Naruto thought. Damn that loser, how does he dare to stand against me, an Uchiha, Sasuke thought. I have enough of this, it's time I showed the difference between the original and a copy, Sasuke snarled at the blonde who raised an eyebrow. I guess he really doesn't know about the pure-blood Uchihas. Ironic that he called me a copy, Naruto thought, chuckling. Come Sasuke, let me show how to use the Sharingan, Naruto, and both dashed towards each other. Let's see how he deals with this, Naruto said in thought, and his Sharingan started glowing. Both arrived next to each other, and Naruto threw a right hook, and it landed perfectly on Sasuke's jaw. Naruto dodged a retaliatory punch before Naruto sent another punch to the cracked rib, making him wince in pain. Taking advantage of his moment of pain, Naruto threw a set of quick punches to his face and stomach and upper thighs. Naruto, seeing Sasuke slightly dazed from the punches, went for a leg sweep, making Sasuke jump over it. Naruto kept his momentum, and continued his spin. As Naruto was finishing his spin, he quickly rose up, and gave Sasuke a brutal uppercut, and Sasuke was sent to the ground in pain. Sasuke didn't want to be manhandled by someone like Naruto, and refused to give up or stay down. He charged again at Naruto and suffered the same fate. Sasuke threw a punch. Naruto sidestepped at the last second, and gave him an elbow to his back that made Sasuke fall to the ground as he lost his balance. How are you doing this? Sasuke yelled out. He couldn't understand what was happening. Until moments ago, their Taijutsu battle was about even, with Sasuke managing to evade almost all of his attacks. He would never admit that Naruto was better than him. Sasuke didn't understand how suddenly Naruto was able to dodge every single hit, and yet every single strike Naruto sent would hit Sasuke dead on. Why should I tell you anything? Naruto replied, which infuriated Sasuke even more if it was possible. Sasuke once again ran towards Naruto, hopping to put the blonde in its proper place. What crowd? What's happening? Naruto suddenly started dominating the battle. Ino yelled, not believing her precious Sasuke-kun would get transformed into a punching bag. Kakashi was also intrigued to what was happening, and he would bet that everyone watching the fight was wondering the same. How could a Taijutsu battle become so one-sided so suddenly? Kakashi kept muzzling his head, trying to figure it out when he saw Hinata smiling. You know what's happening, don't you? Kakashi asked Hinata, giving his traditional eye smile. Of course I know, he used the same strategy against me a couple of times, Hinata explained. Then you wouldn't mind explaining what exactly Naruto is doing? Kakashi asked. Use your Sharingan and watch the battle carefully, Hinata said, and Kakashi shrugged his shoulders and did what she said. Kakashi lifted his headband to show his own fully matured Sharingan. It took him a couple of minutes until he noticed it, but he was capable of figuring it out. That's ingenious, Kakashi said, wondering how anyone never thought of that. Looks like you figured it out, Hinata said. What? Tell us what's happening, Sakura said. Kakashi turned to her and noticed that everyone was staring at him and waiting for an answer. His sweat dropped before beginning. The concept is rather simple to understand, however to actually use it in combat would be more tricky. One of the Sharingan's powers is the ability to cast Genjutsu when the enemy crosses eyes with the Sharingan user. Kakashi started as everyone nodded, focusing on his explanation. What Naruto is doing is placing various small Genjutsu every time they exchange blows. Naruto is making Sasuke see false attacks or even hide his attacks, making Sasuke blind to Naruto's real movements. For instance, Naruto made Sasuke see right hook when in fact it was a left hook, making Sasuke completely exposed. Another example is making Sasuke see that Naruto is on the defensive when in fact he is preparing to throw a kick. Kakashi explained as best as he could. Everyone stared at Kakashi's explanation and stayed in wow at Naruto's skill. Even Kurenai herself, a Genjutsu master, didn't think of that, and even if she did, she wouldn't be able to use it in combat because the only way to induce a Genjutsu without hand seals is with a Dojutsu, which Kurenai wasn't gifted with. You're right, that's ingenious. The kid is a genius. I wonder why he never told me about that, Kurenai pointed out, and Kakashi chuckled. There's a reason why we say to never gaze into the eyes of an Uchiha, Kakashi said, chuckling. Maybe I should try it too, Kakashi thought. Of course, he would ask for Naruto's permission to use it. I wonder what name I would call this variant. Maybe Illusion Fist. Yeah, that's a good name, Kakashi thought. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura called out, drawing him out of his thoughts. I thought the Sharingan was able to see Trough Genjutsu, Sakura stated, confused. Since I found out what was happening, but if look at Sasuke, Kakashi said, pointing to the field. You would notice that he's attacking blindly. His judgment is clouded by so much anger and frustration that he doesn't even realize what is happening, Kakashi said, and Sakura frowned over her. Sasuke-kun. Arena. Had enough yet? Naruto asked as he watched Sasuke retreat and make distance between himself and Naruto. I don't know what he's doing, but I can't engage in taijutsu with him anymore. Guess I'll resort to ninjutsu. My chakra reserves are still full, Sasuke thought as he landed from a quick succession of jumps, nursing his cracked rib. I don't know what you are doing, and I don't care. I'll show you the Uchiha's firepower, Sasuke said, smirking. Ninjutsu it is, Naruto said before both flashed through the same hand seals and yelled out, fire style. Great fireball technique. Both expelled a fire stream from their mouths that collided in the middle and battled for dominance. Seconds passed and the clash was at a standstill. While the battle for power was going on, Naruto poured more chakra into his flames, transforming them into white hot that completely overrun Sasuke's and made him jump out of the way, otherwise he would get burned to a crisp. Fire style. Phoenix fire technique, Naruto called out and started sending multiples fireballs, making Sasuke run to dodge almost all of them, since he used a kunai and slashed through a few. Fire style. Dragon fire technique, Naruto said, and instead of multiples fireballs, he sent a large stream of fire that covered a good portion of the arena. Sasuke saw the incoming fire, and the only thing he could do was jump up, and that he did. Naruto expected him to jump up since it was the logical way to safely dodge his attack. He quickly threw a few shurikens and called out Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu, and the few shurikens multiplied into about 50. Sasuke took out a kunai and started deflecting as many as he could, but he was forced to replace himself with a log, otherwise he would be turned into a pincushion for shurikens. Shadow Clone Jutsu, Naruto called out, and a single clone poofed into existence. They both were standing to each other before calling their techniques. Wind style. Divine Vortex, Naruto's shadow clone called out and created a vortex of wind in front of him that blasted towards Sasuke. Fire style. Dragon fire technique, Naruto called out and released a fire stream that combined with the wind's vortex. Fire-wind collaboration jutsu. Divine blazing vortex, they both said at the same time. An enormous vortex of hot flames burned his way to Sasuke fast. Sasuke dodged to the side but still got scorched in his right arm. The vortex continued its path that drilled a good hole in the arena wall before stopping. How can he have so much chakra to throw around jutsus like nothing, Sasuke thought as he analyzed the blazing inferno that Naruto just unleashed. Kage box. Such control over the fire element, the Kage said. As expected from members of the Uchiha clan, the Raikage agreed. Yes, they do have rather good control over it, however it isn't Naruto's primary affinity, the Hokage explained. Oh? The Raikage asked, surprised. All members of the Uchiha had a rather high affinity towards fire. And what would be his primary one? He asked. Lightning, and he's rather good with it, the Hokage commented. Raikage raised an eyebrow. After all, lightning attacks were his village's strength. Let's see what he has then, the Raikage said as he turned his attention towards the arena. So, he's skilled in lightning. Let's see, Dari thought. Dari is the only person in his village to wield the legendary black lightning that was taught to him by the third Raikage and the fourth Raikage's father. Arena. I'm tired of playing games with you, Sasuke said and activated his curse mark. Immediately as he activated it, he felt a burst of chakra, strength and speed inside himself. As the black mark started spreading through his skin, covering almost all of his body, he felt like he could take on the world. With this power I'll grind you to dust, Sasuke said, laughing like a crazy bastard that he is. It's no use, Kurama said, shaking his head. He's bananas, Kurama said, and Naruto chuckled. I told you not to use that power. It consumes you and blinds you. You turn into nothing more than an anger-drive lunatic, Naruto said, and as he expected, Sasuke rejected him, saying that he was jealous of such power. Sasuke ran forward at the top of his speed, but Naruto was able to predict where it would hit him, so he just tilted his head to the side. Sasuke was about to kick him when Naruto started glowing. Shit, Sasuke thought, as he didn't have enough time for a Kawarimi. Sasuke just jumped back as far as he could and coiled himself with his arms in front of his face, facing himself. Boom. Naruto's clone exploded and sent Sasuke flying. Sasuke didn't receive much damage, but for a bit of scorched skin. His curse mark and quick reflexes allowed him to block the attack with little to no damage at all. I should have known he knew that variant of his shadow clone jutsu, Sasuke thought, smacking himself for not realizing it. Sasuke was watching Naruto very carefully for any types of move, when Naruto suddenly poofed in smoke, revealing it to be Kage Bushin. Right, left, up. Sasuke thought as he searched for said blonde, and jumped back just in time to avoid Naruto's hand popping from the ground. You really think I would fall for that? Kakashi-sensei used that during our Genin test, Sasuke explained, but Naruto didn't say anything. Both just stared at each other, plotting their next move. Flash pillar, Naruto said as flash through hand seals. Just as finished, a very bright light emerged from his hand, blinding Sasuke. He didn't move an inch from his spot, still eyeing Naruto. Sasuke quickly flared his chakra, breaking the Genjutsu in an instant. Genjutsu doesn't work against me, Sasuke boasted about his Sharingan. His curse mark hit Kurama, said, snapping Naruto from his thoughts. The curse mark put his chakra in constant fluctuation. Only a very powerful Genjutsu would be able to affect him. Well, the mark is active, Kurama explained, and Naruto nodded. Let's try this, Naruto said, and eyed Sasuke's eyes. Bringer of darkness jutsu, Naruto said, and Sasuke's world went black. Sasuke found himself in a dark place. Sasuke couldn't even see his own hands in front of him. It was pure blindness, the biggest fear of Jujutsu users. At least Sasuke said, but the technique didn't even waver. Sasuke tried once more, but it failed. Sasuke got pissed and flared as much chakra as he could, and his curse mark glowed. On the third try, Sasuke unleashed a pulse of chakra that cracked the floor and broke his illusion. Sasuke was left panting after releasing that amount of chakra. You were right, Kurama. He even broke an A rank in jutsu, Naruto said to Kurama. After all, the snake's gifts were useful to something. I told you. Genjutsu is useless against me, Sasuke said, smirking as he popped his soldier pill to regain some chakra. What to do? Naruto mused and thought. He couldn't pull his big weapons, otherwise he might accidentally kill the Sasuke. Something unpredictable, Naruto thought as he chose what he was going to do against him. The Hyugas will have a field day after this. I pity the old man, Naruto chuckled and thought. Naruto raised his right arm facing Sasuke, who raised an eyebrow in confusion. Naruto smiled and said, Haki Kushu, air palm. Naruto channeled chakra to his arm and sent an air palm towards Sasuke, who would never expect a Hyuga attack from him, and got hit right in the chest. Naruto's unpredictable attack finally broke Sasuke's cracked rib, and made him show a bit of blood, but he wouldn't surrender just because of that. He channeled more chakra to the curse mark, trying to get as much as he could. Sasuke disappeared from view and appeared right in front of Naruto. Sasuke sent a kick to his chest, but is surprised when the kick was blocked. Sasuke saw Naruto smiling just before he started spinning in a blue dome of chakra. Release it, Naruto said as he spun, blocking Sasuke's kick and sending him flying to the wall. Sasuke should have expected that after seeing Naruto using the air palm, but apparently his arrogance knows no boundaries. Enough, Sasuke orders pushed as much chakra as he could towards his curse seal, making it completely cover his body. Sasuke dashed forward towards Naruto with tremendous speed. Naruto's eyes widened, and he brought his hand just in time to block a straight punch to his face that would mostly likely hurt quite a bit. Man, he picked up speed. I may need to disable my gravity seals, or Naruto thought as he dodged another fast kick from Sasuke. Chidori Nagashi, Naruto called out, and his body was enveloped by an electric flow that sparked in every direction. As soon as Naruto unleashed the lightning jutsu, Sasuke was shocked and thrown backwards and left twitching. Damn it. I can't fight in close quarters with him, and he didn't use hand seals for that jutsu, so I can't copy it. Damn that loser, Sasuke thought as he planned another way to approach the blonde without coming in contact with his defensive electric coat. With crowd, I've never seen that one, Hinata said as she activated her Byakugan and watched in wow, as the electricity danced and flowed around his body, almost making a protective layer around him. Neither did I. It seems to be derived from my Chidori, Kakashi commented as he watched his brother with pride. You taught him the Chidori? Guy asked, surprised. No, he copied it during a mission and asked me for permission to use it. Since he had the Sharingan and lightning affinity, I didn't see why not, and besides, he taught me his own creation, the Kirin Jutsu, Kakashi stated with pride in his little brother. What? He taught you that jutsu? Kiba blurted out. He remembered very well the power of that jutsu as it was imprinted very well in his memory. Yes, he did, but I think I might not be able to use it properly. I still can't gather the energy in the atmosphere and hold it without dispersing, Kakashi explained in a bit of shame. I need to train my lightning affinity further, if I want to be able to use the jutsu, he summarized sighing. Thank God for that, Sabusa said chuckling. Damn you, Hiashi, one of the elders said. Did you see what you have done? You expelled your daughter instead of sending her to the branch family, and now an outsider knows our clan's best techniques, he said, glaring at the clan head. If I'm not mistaken, you agreed and even pushed for her removal from the clan, Hiashi calmly replied, and the elders scowled. It matters not now. We must find a way to make sure they don't spread out our techniques, one of the elders said. Kage box. Well, there you go. A defensive lightning jutsu, the Hokage said, smiling. The Raikage wasn't as happy with the events as he watched him very carefully. That brat, that looks like a bastard version of my lightning armor, the Raikage thought as he analyzed his jutsu to minute detail. He might be able to complete it, at least I'll have another adversary for my speed, the Raikage thought chuckling. The Raikage was Kumo's most powerful shinobi, and it was a shame he didn't have anyone to compete with. Every single shinobi under his command didn't match up to him. Only his brother Killer Beast stood a chance, and that was because he had the full power of a Hachibi behind him. That's a rather good defensive jutsu. It may not defend against attacks per se, but at least it prevents anyone from coming close to the user, Daryu explained as he watched Naruto in a new light. Yes, the Raikage agreed. It looks like you were right, Hokage Dono. He's skilled in lightning jutsus, and apparently he can use some Hyuga's moves, the Raikage commented, and the Hokage nodded his head. You forget that Hyuga Hinata is his girlfriend. He was bound to learn her techniques since she isn't tied to the clan, the Hokage explained. That brat, I wonder what more he can do, maybe I can convince him to join my village, Orochimaru thought. Yes, let's see what more he can do, you intrigue me to no end, Orochimaru thought, salivating and licking his lips in anticipation. Arena. How are you so strong, Naruto? Sasuke asked, finally realizing that the loser in front of him wasn't so weak as he expected. How did that happen? I trained myself to the brink of exhaustion every single day. I hated him, despised him as much as I could. How can that dope be more powerful than me? Sasuke cursed in his thought, as he took a few deep breaths to calm himself down. You don't even belong to the Uchiha clan, Sasuke said. Thank God for that, Naruto quickly replied. What? Sasuke asked, confused. I awakened my Sharingan at 5 years old, Sasuke, and it was my choice not to go to the Uchiha clan. And I'm glad that I didn't, otherwise I might be 7 feet under right now, Naruto said, shivering at the thought as many in the crowd did. Then help me, Sasuke said, swallowing his pride. He would never ask anyone for help, but a fellow Sharingan user could be of help to him, nothing more. I don't follow, Naruto said, confused to what exactly Sasuke wanted. Help me kill my brother and avenge our family, and let's start the Uchiha clan once again, Sasuke said to the blonde. No. Don't mix me up with the Uchiha clan and your little vendetta, I have nothing to do with it. My father never belonged to the clan, and neither will I. The Uchihas were a bunch of power-arrogant fools who did anything for power, and they felt like gods themselves, just because of these precious eyes, Naruto said. Naruto remembered very well the Uchihas when they were alive and kicking. They all thought that the rest of the shinobis were below them, and it wouldn't surprise him if that was their demise. Sasuke seethed his teeth and wanted to argue, but he couldn't really do much. It's true his clan wanted power, and it was true that everyone else was below them. Sasuke kept cursing the blonde's existence until something clicked on his mind. Wait, you said that your father wasn't an Uchiha? Sasuke asked. That's right. My father lived in the village since he was 5 years, and he never belonged to the Uchiha clan, Naruto said, much to the shock of young Sasuke. My father always hid his Sharingan with the Genjutsu, much like I did for the last 8 years, or so, Naruto explained. If your father didn't belong to the clan, I bet he was someone weak who didn't have the honor of being considered one, Sasuke smugly said, trying to get under Naruto's skin. Kakashi himself in the stands wanted to go to the arena and shove Urakiri into Sasuke's ass for disrespecting his sensei. My father was hero, but lost his life during the Kyuubi's attack, so don't disrespect him, Sasuke, Naruto said seriously. Everyone in the stands could feel the tension rising between both of them, and wondered if they would both come out alive. And the reason because my father was never an Uchiha was because he was the son of someone who exiled himself from the clan, Naruto said, wondering if Sasuke would figure it out. Oh shit, Naruto is bringing it out, the Hokage thought as he watched the match with interest. This match would affect the blonde's future much more than he knew. Exiled? But the clan never exiled anyone, Sasuke said, confused as he tried to think about every journal he read about the clan history. Naruto watched Sasuke wrecking his brain trying to find out who exactly left the clan. Sasuke froze as he remembered the one single person that left the clan. The only Sharingan user in the clan history to ever leave the clan, and Konoha for that matter. You can't be, Sasuke said, involuntarily taking a step back. He died in the Valley of the End, Sasuke said, shivering at the thought. Valley of the End? A few people in the crowd asked, not understanding. Looks like you figured it out, Naruto said. Care to tell the crowd who's that person? Naruto asked. There's only one person to ever leave the clan, Uchiha Madara, Sasuke gulped and said, and Naruto smirked knowing he got into his head. That's right, Sasuke, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, grandson of the legendary Uchiha Madara. Naruto stated out loud as his hair flowed with the wind and his Sharingan spinning like crazy. Naruto discreetly made a Kage bush and hinged into Madara's shimmer into existence behind Naruto. Everyone could see the similarities between both of them. The hairstyle, the strong jawline and general shape of the face, the Sharingan, and the aura of power they both seemed to exude. Poor Sasuke didn't know what to think of the supposed dope and dead last of the academy. He was the grandson of the most powerful Uchiha to live. Kage box. What? The Kazekage aka Orochimaru yelled out from the balcony, jumping from his seat as he stared at the blonde. Careful, Orochimaru, or you might blow your cover, the Hokage said in his thought. Your lust for power and immortality will be your downfall. Unbelievable, to think Madara would have a son and later on a grandson, the Raikage commented. Wait a minute, the Raikage thought as he looked towards the unsurprised Hokage and Jiraiya. He said his hair looked like Madara's. You didn't know how right you were, Dari said lightly, chuckling. You knew about this, didn't you? The Raikage asked almost rhetorically, looking towards the Hokage and Jiraiya. I'm the Kage of this village, don't you think I would know? The Hokage replied. Though if Naruto didn't tell me I wouldn't have known, he thought, chuckling to himself. You lied to me, Hokage Dono. You know very well who his parents are, don't you? The Raikage asked. Perhaps I was economical with the truth, yes, the Hokage said and chuckled lightly. I don't suppose you will tell me. The Raikage fished around the Hokage for information. In time, I will make it public knowledge when Naruto chooses it, the Hokage replied. To think that Minato was an Uchiha and the son of Madara himself, Orochimaru thought as he grated his teeth. With the blood of the most powerful Uchiha within my grasp, I'll attain my final objective. I can no longer afford to kill the brat, though I wonder what else he's hiding, Orochimaru thought. That brat was a gold mine. What crowd? No way, Sakura gasped. Unbelievable, Ino said. Like I said, troublesome blonde Shikamaru thought, no longer watching the clouds and focusing on the fight. Apparently, the fight itself wasn't troublesome anymore. I think we might have made a mistake, Hiashi said, gulping with a dry throat. At least your daughter picked a worthy husband. If we incorporate the blood of such an Uchiha in our clan, we surely will become the most powerful and influential one in the elemental nations. Even if it was someone like Madara, one of the Hyuga's elders said. Yes, Hiashi. It's of vital importance you bring your daughter back to the clan. Without the cage bird seal, she can become the heiress. Offer her that, another elder replied. Do I mean anything other than a powerful heiress? Do they even care about me? Or do they only care about the power of the clan? Hanabi asked with her head lowered as she overheard the elders speaking. That brat, Asuma said, chuckling. Kurenai-sensei, Sakura called out, getting her attention. Did you know he was Madara's grandson? She asked. No, Sakura, I didn't know, Kurenai replied, and turned towards Hinata. Did you know Hinata? Kurenai asked. Of course, Kurenai-sensei, we know everything about each other, Hinata replied, and Kakashi broke out in a fit of giggles, but a glare from Kurenai silenced him quickly enough. I think only the Hokage, Jiraiya, Kakashi and I know about his true heritage, Hinata explained. Jiraiya? Sakura asked. Jiraiya the Toad Sage is his godfather, Hinata replied, and Sakura's jaw hit the floor. Is he related to any other powerful shinobi? Sakura asked, not believing the so-called dope was the grandson of one of the most powerful shinobi to ever live, and the godson one of the Sanins. If only you knew, Hinata replied in thought. In time he will reveal himself to the world, Hinata replied. Poor Uchiha Zabuza said, chuckling, and many agreed. It looked like Sasuke's fate was sealed. Arena. Sasuke broke forth from his thoughts. He wouldn't let him have his way with him. I don't care who you are, I'll defeat you right here, Sasuke spat. You are a hypocrite, Sasuke. You say you don't care who I am, and yet you boast about being an Uchiha, Naruto said, and both prepared to end their battle. Shut up, Sasuke yelled out with his curse mark flaring even more. I'm ending this right now, Sasuke said. Ox, rabbit, monkey, dragon, rat, bird, ox, snake, dog, tiger, monkey. Sasuke went through the hand seals and placed his hand down with his other gripping the wrist. Lightning could be seen forming in his palm. Suddenly the lightning chakra spiked and sounded like 1,000 birds chirping. With crowd. Wow, so that's the Chidori, Sakura said in awe. That's the power of the Uchiha clan, Sakura said, entering her usual fangirl style. So, you taught him the Chidori? Guy asked. Yes, Sasuke is very similar to me and Naruto himself. They both have the Sharingan, and both have lightning affinities, Kakashi explained. You don't seem worried, Kakashi-sensei, Ino said. That's because Naruto also knows that technique. The jutsu he used earlier was based on that one, but I don't know if he's going to use it or anything else, Kakashi explained. Arena. So Kakashi-sensei taught you the Chidori, Naruto stated as he watched the Chidori sparkle in Sasuke's hand. That was a risk on his part, you are too unstable, Naruto said. Shut up, Sasuke yelled as he dashed towards Naruto, intending to end his life one and for all. I always wondered how the Rasengan would hold up against the Chidori. Let's try it, Naruto thought as he ran towards Sasuke as well. Everyone in the audience could hear a swirling sound as the chakra started spinning in Naruto's hand. Moments later it emerged in his hand a small blue sphere, and many knew what it was. Chidori. Rasengan. Both attacks clashed and the ground shook from energy being released. Everyone in the audience stared in awe at the power of both Genins. The attacks were fighting for supremacy, sparkles of pure electricity were ripping the ground apart. Some of the people had to turn away from the bright light being emitted from the clash. The clash suddenly ended as both were propelled backwards through the air. Sasuke stumbled into the ground while Naruto regained his balance midair and landed on the ground, but hard enough for it to crack. Looks like the Rasengan and the Chidori are about even, Naruto said as he eyed the results of their clash. Naruto looked at Sasuke, who was getting back up. He looked like he was exhausted, he was breathing hard, and his arm had a couple of cuts and bruises that were bleeding. I can't clash it against that jutsu, since I can only do it twice a day, Sasuke thought as his breathing was labored. Damn, that Sasuke thought, but was interrupted when Naruto said, loser. What? They both said at the same time. Are you? Sasuke said. Reading my mind, Naruto completed, and Sasuke watched Naruto's Sharingan glow and start spinning. I've looked into your future and its defeat, Naruto said, making Sasuke boil. Sasuke flashed through the same hand seals, completely discarding the fact he could only do it one more time. Looks like it will be his last attack, his chakra reserves are almost empty, Naruto thought as he watched Sasuke with his Sharingan. Both ran forward intending to clash one final time, however Naruto had a different idea. To any other spectator, the clash that was about to ensue was pretty much like the previous, with Sasuke wielding a Chidori and Naruto Rasengan. However, the moment they were about to clash, Naruto activated his EMS. Without letting Sasuke see it, otherwise he would fuss about it, and phased right through Sasuke, who still had his Chidori active. What the hell is he? Were Sasuke's thoughts as he watched Naruto pass right through him with his Chidori activated. It's like Naruto turned into water and Sasuke flew right through it. The moment they separated, Naruto quickly turned back and slammed his Rasengan into Sasuke's back, and he was sent flying into the wall and ended in the ground, barely awake. How can you be so strong? Sasuke barely asked as he noticed the blonde approaching him. Because I fight to protect. I know what you fight for, Sasuke, Naruto said, pausing. You fight for vengeance, and you train in order to be strong enough to kill your brother, Naruto said, and watched Sasuke glaring at him before continuing. But, if you want to truly be strong, then train, fight and die for your precious people. Drop your attitude and find someone to care for, and then your true strength will be revealed, Naruto concluded, and watched Sasuke close his eyes and embrace the sweet unconsciousness. Kage quickly hurried towards Sasuke and poked him with his stick. Sasuke made no sound as he was completely out. Medics, Kage yelled, and immediately a couple of medics entered the arena, and placed Sasuke in a stretcher, to be brought to the infirmary. Winner by knockout. Uzumaki, Naruto Kage called out, smiling at the blonde brat. He never liked the Uchiha much. Kage declared the winner, and an intense silence followed afterwards. Not even birds could be heard as Sasuke was being carried to the infirmary. Naruto left the arena and was walking towards the balcony when crowds suddenly erupted in cheers, bringing a small smile to our blonde. There will 30-minute break until the next round begins, Kage explained. Kage box. The will of fire burns brightly in him. I only wished you were here to see him, Minato, the Hokage sadly thought. Not an apprentice, my ass. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Rasengan, the Raikage said. Well, I did teach him a few things, Jiraiya said, chuckling a bit nervously and rubbing the back of his head. To see again in using that jutsu, amazing, the Kazekage commented. That Orochimaru must be interested in Naruto since he has the Sharingan as well. So much greed, the Hokage thought in shame. Your thoughts on the match and the promotions, the Hokage said. Naruto easily deserves Chunin rank. He stayed calm, and came up with different strategies to counter the opponent's strengths. Besides, he's strong on his own, the Raikage said, and the Kazekage agreed with the Raikage's reasoning. Chunin it is. What about Sasuke? The Hokage asked. He doesn't deserve the Chunin rank. Even though he has the strength, he was unable to keep his head cool, and I seem to agree with the Uzumaki. He seems a bit unstable, the Kazekage explained. If Sasuke believes the village is holding him back, it will be another reason for him to join me, Orochimaru thought. I agree. Even though there were some revelations, he should have tried to keep his head calm and focus, the Raikage agreed, eyeing the Hokage and Jiraiya. It's decided then, the Hokage said. With crowd, I didn't know Naruto was that talented, Izumo said. Yes, who would think the brat that we used to see being chased by Anbu was that good, Katetsu said. At his rate he will be Jonin before us, Izumo said, chuckling. Everyone watched the blonde making his way up the stands as he approached his fellow friends and senseis. Naruto realized that they were all staring at him and asked, is there something on my face? Is that all you have to say after what you told everyone? Ino screeched out. It was a secret for a reason, and you now know. What's the big deal? Naruto said, shrugging them off. Big deal? You the grandson of Uchiha Madara and you have a Sharingan, Ino stated out loud, having her arms. Yes, so. I had to work hard to be this strong. The Sharingan helped, but I had to train as well, Naruto said. And besides, having a strong family doesn't make you strong, Naruto explained. Congratulations, Naruto-kun, Hinata said and pecked his cheek, making him rub the back of his head. Thanks Hinata-chan, Naruto replied, hugging her. Keep up the good work, brat. I've already made good money with you, Zabuza said, grinning. Were the odds against me that bad? He asked. 20-1. Everyone came here to see the Uchiha win, Zabuza said, laughing a crowd until he realized something. Well, the Uchiha did win, Zabuza said, pointing to him. At least now everyone knows, and I don't have to hide it anymore, Naruto said. Thank you, Naruto, Sakura said. She was happy that Naruto didn't cripple or hurt Sasuke too much. He needed a good reality check. He thought he was Kami on Earth because of those eyes, and who better than another one to show him, Naruto said. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, and also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.